brings the victory. Custom dreams they build so high, golden prints and colors fly. Fastest shipping, rocket speed. ShineOn leads with what you need. ShineOn triumphs every day. Printful falls out of the way. Printify tries, but they can't stay. ShineOn glows in bright array. Simple clicks, your artwork sells. In the market, ringing bells. Spreading joy with every piece. ShineOn never will decrease. Quality like sun at noon, bright as stars and to the moon. Competition can't compare. ShineOn on victory in the air. ShineOn triumphs every day. Printful falls out of the way. Printify tries, but they can't stay. ShineOn glows in bright array. ShineOn triumphs every day. Printful falls out of the way. Printify tries, but they can't stay. ShineOn glows in bright array. ShineOn for selling, ShineOn for scaling, ShineOn for making dreams worth chasing, ShineOn for growing, see where we're going. We bring the products and we're unstoppable. Oh, oh, ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. To promise to keep leading us, and we set our passion into trust. ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. Building a world where we all rise high. ShineOn for learning, ShineOn for earning, ShineOn for hustling, our future's burning. ShineOn for launching, see what we're sparking, bringing the value and now we're unstoppable. Oh, oh, ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. To promise to keep leading us, and we set our passion into trust. ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. Building a world where we all rise high. Oh, ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. To promise to keep leading us, and we set our passion into trust. ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. Building a world where we all rise high. ShineOn for dreaming, are we believing? ShineOn is shaping the future we're achieving. ShineOn for thinking, see what we're building, pushing the limits and now we're unstoppable. Oh, oh, ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. To promise to keep leading us, and we set our passion into trust. ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. Building a world where we all rise high. Oh, ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. To promise to keep leading us, and we set our passion into trust. ShineOn, oh, ShineOn. Building a world where we all rise high.
my steps back in fright. ShineOn shines day and night. ShineOn's print game is strong. T-shirts, skirts, it won't be long. Mugs and more, they craft so bold. Their designs break the mold. ShineOn reigns supreme in the world of printed dreams. Printful, printified, taking the fall. ShineOn conquers all. Quality unmatched in the scene. Their prints always come out clean. Trust in ShineOn, feel the rush. Others turn to dust. Fast shipping, no delays. ShineOn blazes other ways. Reliability in every order. ShineOn sets the border. Customization's what they do. Unique designs just for you. Printful wishes could compete. ShineOn can't be beat.
In the digital light we find our way. Paju teaching us what to say. When ShineOn's magic we hit the stores. Success is closer evermore. Print on demand in every hand. Merchants thriving across the land. Paju guides us through the night. In this game we're winning the fight. Paju, Paju, learn and grow. Bright ideas start to show. ShineOn sparkles, we succeed. In this world we plant the seed. Pixels dancing in the breeze. Building dreams like endless seas. Every click leads to a chance. That's Paju inside the dance. Virtual sounds and sunlight beams. Together we chase our dreams. E-commerce future bright as gold. With Paju our tales unfold. Paju, Paju, learn and grow. Bright ideas start to show. ShineOn sparkles, we succeed. In this world we plant the seed.
I was muted that whole time, wasn't I? All right, we're going to do this again. You ready? Pretend I just came on screen. What's up? How's everybody doing? We doing good out there? I hope so. It's been a little while. I've missed you. I hope you've missed me too. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties today. I had to get a new laptop, and it's just been a mess trying to get all three of my monitors working and the teleprompter and all this stuff. So this is what you get today. You get me on my actual webcam I take meetings from and stuff. So we're going to do that. How is everybody doing out there, huh? I see Gail. What's going on? I see Elizabeth. How you doing? It's great to see y'all. I see Letty, Luna's Designs. Jazzy, what's up? Sue. So look, I noticed as we were playing the countdown timer, somehow this countdown timer has become a thing of conversation. I don't know how this happened. We've been doing these for 2 years, and all of a sudden we're talking about it. So I want to ask, we're gonna do a little informal poll here. I want to talk to you about the length of this countdown timer. Now, look, I am only going to employ selective hearing if I don't like your answer. Okay. So here's the question. Would you rather have the 10-minute countdown timer with the fun music, or a 5-minute countdown timer with fun music, or no countdown timer? Now, I know what I'm going to do anyway going forward, but I'd still like to hear from you. Most things I listen to merchants on. This one, I don't know if you know what's best for you, but let's find out. Let's hear it in the chat right now. So Wi-Fi Payday says 10 minutes. Okay, I'll take it. There's 1 vote. Miss Sadie says 10 minutes. There's 2 votes. Shop with Jelly, 3 votes on 10 minutes. 10 minutes is winning here so far. As much as I can tell, Miss Sadie says another 10 minutes. That's 4 votes for 10, 0 for 5, 0 for starting on time here. What else we got here? Allison says 10 minutes. Look at this. 10 minutes is sweeping the floor right now. Stephanie says 10 minutes. We're at 6. Mario says 7. So 10 has 6 votes. 7 has 1 vote. 5 has 0 votes. And starting on time has 0 votes. Justine says 10 minutes. Okay, I love this. 10 minutes. So 10 minutes appears to be the clear and obvious winner here. Actually, I'm kind of kidding here. There's a conflict here between 10 and 5. It's all good. This is fun. Okay. Kim's like, are you looking at the chat? She's like, something feels like someone's putting their finger on the scales here a little bit. I don't know who would be doing that. All right. I hope you guys are doing good. Today, we got a really fun coffee with ShineOn with you. I have Matt Bahe kind of waiting in the wings here to come out and join us. For those of you that don't know Matt Bahe, Matt is kind of a perennial bestseller here at ShineOn for multiple years in a row. He's been smashing records. He's got a really fun story that I think everyone's going to be able to relate to. And if you don't know him, we're going to kind of get into his origin story a little bit, and then we're going to talk about how you can make the most out of Valentine's Day. So it's going to be really exciting. Let me go ahead and get our stuff up. However you do that. Where'd all my buttons go? There it is. All right. Coming up here. So let's share screen. There we go. All right. All right. So first up, we've got some swag winners I'd like to go through. Sorry, I'm still chuckling here. Rick says that selective reading is cool. Heck yeah, it is. Look, I'm kind of partial to the 10-minute timer. It gives me time to do the things I need to do to prep for this while it's going. And there's some things I can't do until the live stream is going. Like, for example, I can't in Facebook, I don't get the link even sometimes to the live screen until it's started. So it's hard to get the link and then send it out and do some stuff like that. But also on my side, I start to get all my windows ready. I close down chats from work and stuff like that. So for me, it's helpful, but whatever. I get it. Okay. Let's go over. You guys can't see my screen, can you? There we go. Wrong one. A little rusty here. Let's do some swag winners here real quick. For those of you, some of you may have seen this actually in the Facebook group yesterday. Root Vic here smashed it in Q4. It's a really fun story what Root Vic did as well. I'll probably try to tell that to you a little bit. Something to know real quick as you look at his numbers. You know, Root Vic has been at this for a long time. He's put in a lot of time, energy, and effort to his success here. You should just know that, you know, his success isn't typical. You know, print on demand is not a get rich quick scheme. You know, success isn't just going to fall out of the sky and land in your lap or anything like that. You really have to treat this like a skill and like you would anything else, where it's going to take time, energy, intentional effort, and practice on your part to achieve any kind of success. That said, he has been in the ShineOn community for a while. He did $727,000 in revenue in Q4 alone. And, you know, according to this data, this doesn't include ad spend or anything like that. This is literally just his margin after the product cost. He's got $510,000 in ShineOn profits. Again, marketing spend comes out of that. Sold 14,000 units, which is pretty incredible. I'm going to read a little bit of his post here. This Q4 was life-changing, making $727,000 in revenue in just 2 months and hitting an $82,000 day was something I could only dream of. Was it easy? Was I lucky? Not at all. It felt almost impossible, and the journey was full of self-doubt. I'm from India with no silver spoon. I've been doing ShineOn for the last 3 years. You can check out my old posts. I lost thousands of dollars and went bankrupt 3 times, but I never gave up, because there was always a small, hopeful voice reminding me of the reasons I was working so hard. Just a FYI for everybody, I don't think he technically went bankrupt in like the legal sense of the word. I think he's just saying he went to zero 3 different times. It took me hundreds of product tests to get to this point, but in the end, it was all worth it. If you're reading this and your last product test failed, I just want to say it's all right to fail and learn from your failures. You will get better at it. Don't give up. If I can do it, you can too. Special thanks for some ShineOn folks for all their help. I wouldn't have done this without ShineOn and you guys. So Root Vic, he has a really cool story. So Q4 hits and Root Vic's looking for a new product to sell. He sees that we have some discounted products inside of our catalog. He picked up one of those discounted products. I'm not going to reveal which one. And then he basically scaled that thing to the moon. We were definitely on our back foot when he started scaling those because we had a limited quantity of the product. But as soon as we saw it taken off, we worked with our merchandising and logistics team over a weekend. They got some more units in like really fast so that he could continue scaling throughout Q4. So it was a really kind of neat partnership where we were kind of helping him. He was definitely helping us, and it was just cool to see what we could do together. But anyway, give Root Vic a big congrats. Find his post in the Facebook group and go like it, leave a comment, and leave your encouragement. Okay, so Root Vic's definitely got some swag coming to him this week. If you too would like some swag, you know, when you hit your first sale, when you have a break, even if you just publish your first product, if you have some value you want to share, drop those in the Facebook group. We grab 3 to 5 posts. We try to every week, kind of randomly. And if you're selected, you'll also get some swag. And our swag store is full of some cool stuff. You can find it by going to ShineOnmerch.com, I think is the URL. All right, let's go over some really quick news. We've got a new Valentine's Day competition. If you'd like to join that, go to valentinecontest.shineon.com to sign up. By the way, I just want to highlight these mock-ups over here on the left. We have an incredible team here at ShineOn, and they have basically rebuilt our mock-up engine. And I'm telling you, it's producing the best mock-ups I've ever seen. You know, like some of our competitors, they've definitely improved their mock-up game for sure. However, these are incredible. The ones that are coming out of this new system. It is unbelievable what they're doing over there. So I'm really excited as we scale that up this year. We start to bring these new renders to the rest of our product line. It's going to be really exciting. Okay, let's go over the Valentine's Day shipping cutoffs really quick. So the shipping cutoff for standard shipping on pick items. So pick would be like the jewelry message card type items. That's going to be February 9th. So that's the Sunday before Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is going to be on a Friday this year. So all your orders need to come in and be paid for by 11 p.m. EST on February 9th if you want to get them delivered by Valentine's Day. Production is going to be February 8th. That's the Saturday before Valentine's Day. And then for expedited shipping, you get additional days of selling. So for pick, we're going to go all the way till February 11th. And then for production items, those are like name necklaces, journals, our acrylic products would be considered production. The graphic pendants are production. Your shipping cutoff for expedited is going to be on the 10th, right? So, I'm pretty sure we have the longest, you can sell closest to a holiday with ShineOn, I think, anyway, with our standard shipping. But now with expedited, it's just like we're cleaning house over here. So anyway, make note of that. This is also posted in the Facebook group if you need to reference it in the future. And I'm sure we'll be talking about this literally every week in the run up to Valentine's Day. I have some exciting news for you. So as we are planning 2025 and we're trying to figure out, the ways we want to improve the company, one of the things we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get all of our message card items down to a 1-day fulfillment. So the orders are going to come in and we're either going to ship them same day if they come in early enough or the following business day, right? So that's one kind of goal we have. And we're going to try to get all of our production items to 2 days. So throughout Q4, we, for the most part, hit the 3-day commitment on pick items the whole Q4. And for production items, we are at 5 days. And we had very few items slip outside of that. I'm not saying we didn't have any, but we had very few. So we feel like this 1 and 2 day thing is achievable. So it's going to be really exciting if we can. You're going to be able to sell even closer to these big holidays if we can pull that off. So it's going to be really cool. All right, just looking at the chat, making sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Let's see. If you ever miss anything in the announcements, you can always go into PodU. You can find PodU. Just log into ShineOn, the ShineOn app, and then over on the left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see a POD University link. Click that. Then go to the announcements and changelog, and anything that we think is announcement worthy is going here. So if you ever miss anything, you just kind of want to get caught up on product launches, shipping cutoffs, anything like that, you can go check here to see if we've already made announcements or posted any news about it. All right. You guys ready for me to bring Matt on? Let's do, Matt? Is there a whiskey emoji? I don't think there's a whiskey emoji. But Matt's a big whiskey fan. So why don't we do, I'm pretty sure there's like a beer mug emoji. Let's go ahead and drop that in the chat right now for Matt. Beer emoji to welcome Matt on. When I see a little beer emoji waterfall, I'll bring him on. Matt, give me a thumbs up if you're pretty much ready. Okay. All right, we've got a couple here. Keld, what's up? I didn't see you were here. Glad to have you, buddy. Lunas, Allison, Carbone or Carbon? Carbone, I think, is that one. Sarah, lovely. We have Boostard, Prince. We have Gail. All right, very good. Matt, here we go, buddy. Let me do this fancy thing. What's up, man? Up, you're muted.
Oh,
Try again. We got you now.
Oh, okay. What's up? It was me, or it was you.
Yeah, and I had muted you earlier. We will hear everything you do, even when you're off screen. So, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. I haven't talked to you face to face in a little while.
No. I've been on a new health kick like most people for the beginning of the year. So we'll see.
Yeah, I've got a few of those New Year's resolutions myself. I'm kind of working on. I'm still on the bandwagon so far.
Yeah, same. But so far, so good. But
nice.
Just trying to stay healthy.
So look, Matt Bahe. Matt, how long have you been selling with ShineOn? 4 or 5 years?
I think I technically started in 2020, but it was like the back end of 2020, like December, November kind of ish. I actually I have the first message I ever got from Eric was like in 2014 or something like that. And we never like connected. I actually looked back one time when I was going to message him about something else. I'm like, he wrote me in 2014 or whatever it was.
ShineOn related?
Yeah, it was when you guys you only had like you designed the message.
Yeah,
design the jewelry. It was like some kind of like
something
antler kind of thing that was really popular then.
Yeah, I can't remember what we called that. There was a name for it. Anyway, so 2020, back into 2020 is when you started. So you kind of missed that initial COVID rush, but you got in on it in 21. It
Yeah.
sounds like. So, I kind of want to give everybody a little bit of a primer on who you are, because I think we've got a lot of people in the audience that probably don't know who you are or haven't heard your story. And something I've always loved about your story that I feel like can relate to is how, you were just kind of a normal guy. You were an accountant. You had a normal kind of 9 to 5. And this e-com thing was just your side gig. And
Yeah.
suddenly it became more than a side gig in a huge way. And you were able to quit your job, and you've shared all your whole story publicly. Like, it's been pretty
Right.
fun to kind of watch your journey. Can you just give us kind of the verbal of your journey,
Yeah.
just to kind of catch people up that don't know you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so long now that there's a lot of like little pieces that I'll probably miss. But I mean, basically, my introduction to the online like space really started in like 2010. I was doing a lot of like the SEO stuff, building the niche sites, and back then it was like exact match domains were big. So if you could buy like buildingmuscle.com or something like that, you had like a shoe in. But it was like a constant like game of like trying to build something, and then there'd be like some kind of update on Google, and your website would be gone and back to zero, and just kind of making like $100 here, $100 there, nothing really big. And that's kind of like what I came into this wanting. It was just a little bit of extra money. I was working as an accountant, and just kind of wanted something to like do on the side, really. And then kind of got into like really did that until like 2014 is when I started to see a lot of like t-shirts pop up, like they had my name on them and stuff in like the Facebook feed, and I was like, what the heck's
Back
this?
when you could do that.
Yeah. And that kind of like introduced me to like the Teesprings, and really like going into like maybe I can do Facebook ads. And I'll never forget, because I went in there and I spent $50 on a Facebook ad on some really ugly shirt, got no sales. And I was like, this is a scam. They just want my money. It's bull crap. Like, I was so mad. But then like I kept on seeing it. I started talking to people. Then I came across like some free content that was on YouTube, and started to like, kind of started to see people that I like resonated with and like believed, started to like believe that, heck, maybe if they're doing it, I can do it too. So I gave it a second go. And that's kind of like where my like resurgence, or I guess maybe my resurgence online, but my first really like paid advertising career kind of took place. And I, did quite well there, sold a lot of t-shirts, sold a lot of mugs. And did like, I think I did multiple 7 figures in shirts, multiple 7 in like mugs and tumblers and stuff like that. But the profit's not great on t-shirts or mugs, right? And so I was like, there's got to be a better way to like sell a product that actually has margin. So I went into it like looking at margin first, being the accountant that I am. And that's kind of where I found ShineOn. I was like, man, can you imagine if I would have sold 50,000 units of like jewelry versus mugs? Like, I'd be, I could like quit my job kind of thing. And so that's kind of when I discovered you before you were with ShineOn, just kind of like your first coaching, and saw your story, saw like the volume you could do. And it like totally opened my eyes to like an entirely new like level of thinking. And that really was kind of the catalyst. That following January, right around this time, I decided to just go all in on like ShineOn. I said, I don't say you should do this. This is not financial advice, but I said, I'm going to take a portion of why am I giving this money to my investments that go up and down? And, we saw what happened in 2008, and they can just be wiped out and whatever. And 2020, kind of like the same thing happened. I said, I'm going to take a percentage of what I would be putting in the market and invest it in myself, like literally put it in the business. And I'm going to do that for a year. And at the very end, then I'll give myself kind of like permission to quit. But I wanted to at least say that I gave it a good run. And that was kind of like the beginning of the the whole like rocket up that changed everything for me, really.
So I want to go back and ask you about a few different things there.
Yeah.
So that was 2020 when you did that, or was that 2021?
It always gets hazy. I think it was 2021, I believe.
When you were like, and this is when because I've heard this story multiple times. This is also when you went and unsubscribed from all the newsletters that weren't talking about e-com. So like something I want to frame up for everybody here that Matt did, and I want to make sure you're hearing this. And you know what? I suppose I should preface this. Look, before we get into this, because you're going to hear Matt's success is a little bit, it's wild. Like how well Matt has done in this space. He said a minute ago that I introduced him to a totally new level of thinking on this. I would say that like he's since done the same thing to me, watching like the milestones that he's hit. So before I get into any of that, though, you should probably know, like, Matt at this point, he's an e-com expert, right? Like, Matt has been doing this for a decade almost at this point, in the e-com game, running ads, getting a feel for what works in print on demand and what doesn't. And I want to frame that up for you because there's so much hypey BS marketing out there right now. And it's starting to bother me when I see like newbies come into this, and like what ends up happening is somebody's brand new and they've been sold this lie that it's easier than it is.
Mhm.
And it sets up a false expectation. And then when they get into this and they're 3 months into it and they start to encounter their first challenges, they tap out because like they didn't go into it with proper expectations, knowing what this was actually going to take, right, to succeed. And so I try to tell everybody, like, this is a business. It's a skill set. It takes time, energy, effort. You got to invest in yourself. You need to learn all the time, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm about to zoom in on some of the things Matt did to be successful. And you're going to see Matt made like significant lifestyle changes, and he had a significant level of commitment to hit this degree of success. And everybody needs to hear and understand that that's really what it takes to see any amount of success in print on demand. It also probably takes a little bit of luck, if I'm totally honest, right?
Yeah.
But you can create your own luck by just sticking around and not quitting, right? So anyway, all that said, 2020 rolls around. Matt has had so-so success. Don't let me mischaracterize that, but he's had so-so success with t-shirts and mugs. Like, he's hit some big numbers, but the margins are small. He's not really getting what he wants out of it. So 2019 hits. He starts seeing people have some success with ShineOn. He gets interested in that. He starts exploring. He's also looking at print on demand opportunities through this lens of margin, right? Because he's wanting to make sure if he's going to spend all this time and energy building one of these stores, it needs to be profitable at the end of the day. So he's taking all of that into account. He decides that he wants to do ShineOn in 2021, right? After seeing every other people's success. And so he makes a commitment, a 1 year long commitment. This is something I want everybody to hear. He makes a 12-month commitment to go all in on ShineOn.
Yeah.
And he even diverts, by the way, I'm not encouraging anybody to do this either. This is just what Matt did. He even diverts a certain amount of money that he was allocating for investment, probably retirement or something like that, every month. And he diverts that money into his business. So now he's got money coming into the business that he was going to be investing. And I assume he's using that money to maybe invest in education or run ads or stuff like that, right? Just to fund the business and his own growth. But he also, and this is something I really want people to hear, he has a little bit of a burn the ships mentality here. So Matt goes and he unsubscribes from all of the non-ecom, non-print on demand related newsletters. And he basically starts shutting off distractions, right? So that this entire year, he is going to be laser focused on figuring this business out. And he's not going to allow himself to quit for a full 12 months. And then, you know, month 13, day one, he can quit if he wants. But he is committing for the long haul here. And it's something I really want people to hear, because it really does take that kind of like you have to want it. You know, it takes a level of grit and determination that very few people tap into to really see this. Back in 2019, when I hit my first big round, I was feeling the same thing. I was so damn, like, I don't know if desperate's the right word, but I was maniacal about figuring this out. And I was trying a bunch of different stuff back then. I wasn't just doing print on demand, even though I had success in print on demand. I was passionate about print on demand. I was trying a bunch of different stuff, but I was maniacal about it. I mean, I tell people this, and sometimes they don't believe me. You know, I had a pretty demanding full-time job as it was, where I was working probably 10 hours a day in my full-time job. I had a 1-year-old child at home and I was married, and I still found about 35 to 40 hours a week to put into this business. I was getting up at 5 a.m., working till 8:30 a.m. on the business every single day, 7 days a week. I never took a day off. And then on the weekends or during the week, I'd use my lunch breaks to work on it. After my kid went to bed, I would set up all my ads for the next day. On the weekends, same thing, guys. I never took a day off. I never slept in, period. Right? it was time to grow my business. Everything else was negotiable. That's how I looked at it. And then on the weekends, even when my kid took a nap, I used his nap times to work on this business. And I found 35 to 40 hours a week to throw at this to crack success, right? But it takes that kind of like maniacal determination and dedication if you want to do something big in this space. I just want to make sure everybody hears that. So Matt, let's go back to you real quick. I want to hear more about
saying.
What's that?
Everybody's saying that we forgot the toast, and my ADD is like,
Dude.
I feel like magic won't happen if we don't do it, man.
Yeah, I felt it felt a little weird. You know why I forgot the toast though? All right, so I'm gonna let everybody in on something. This whole 5 a.m. to whatever, I'm still doing that every day, and I've actually drank a whole pot of coffee already. And I didn't have any.
Oh no,
for the thing. So okay, I'm gonna do like a Hook. Have you seen the movie Hook?
Yeah.
Where you just believe Peter. Yeah. So I'm gonna do one of those with my coffee here.
Yeah.
Let's do the digital marketer's toast. I'm glad you said that, dude. You know, like this could have been really, really bad. Actually,
I got this guy here. I don't know if you can see it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the digital marketer's toast mug. There's a new one now in the merch store. I actually think they put it on a poster too. Holy cow! I'm glad you brought it up, man, because I missed it.
And you were going so well, I didn't want to interrupt, and everything you said struck well.
I feel like an amateur. My team's never gonna let me down now that I missed this. All right. Who's new around here? Who hasn't taken the toast yet? Let us know in the chat. If you haven't taken the toast yet, let us know in the chat.
Taking the toast. It's like Eucharist.
Dude, be careful.
Well, I'm Catholic, so I can say
you're going to see a bunch of people signing off. You're Catholic too, man. That's I'm pretty sure you'd have been like burned at the stake or something 500 years ago.
I'm a convert. They love me.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Letty's new. Kim is new. Leslie's new. All right, welcome. Wi-Fi Payday is new. Get ready to live, people. Get ready to live. All right, I got to tell you about the Digital Marketer's Toast. We do this every single week. It's a special kind of ritual that started here at ShineOn. We started this probably 3 or 4 years ago at this point. I've kind of lost track. And I got to tell you, every time we do one of these, magic happens. It's for real. People get sales, right? Keep an eye on your phone. When we do the toast, people get sales. People get text messages from like their spouse apologizing for the argument that
it's almost like a sales button, right?
What about the button?
The toast is almost like a sales button, right?
That's right.
You do the toast, and
that's how you think about it. I like to tell people that it puts Zuck in a good mood. Like Zuck wakes up every morning and he's got like a suitcase with a big red button on it that's like ban and restrict ad accounts. And he just hits it and like 1,000 ad accounts just get wiped out like that. And every morning he wakes up and he just puts his hand over that button. He's just hovering over the button, seeing how he feels that day. And this turns the tide, people. Take this, Zuck hears a bird singing a song outside and suddenly he's in a different mood and everything changes, right? That's the power of the Digital Marketer's Toast. So raise up your glasses, mugs, bottles, and flasks. Join me now for the Digital Marketer's Toast. Here's to more conversions, more cash, cheap CPMs, and lower CACs, higher CTRs, much higher CVRs to enable ad accounts and big bank accounts, upsells, downsells, and cross-sells, to winning products and repeat sales, and to the thing that everybody knows, the riches are in the niches, but also your email flows. Cheers, everybody.
Hello.
That was delish.
Yep.
That's how we do it. Now, if you're out there and you felt some tinglies, and maybe you didn't get the tinglies right away, maybe you feel the tinglies now. Like now, you feel the tinglies. Top of your head, bottom of your toes. Maybe you feel it in your fingers. Maybe you're getting a little warm in your chest. If that's you, I want to know right now in the chat. There's power in the toast. There's power in the toast. I say it's the dopamine hit that kind of runs around the world, right? We have every continent represented in this toast, usually every single Friday, except Antarctica. I'm still waiting for somebody to make the trip to Antarctica to complete the map here. All right. Someone says Peter tingles. I'm not sure I should be putting that up here.
I hope his name is Peter.
You got me thinking about the church, and I'm like, are we talking about the Apostle Peter here or what? Let's see. Stephanie says, wait, but where do we buy that? The mug? If you're asking about the mug, it's ShineOnmerch.com. I did the toast with my shake. Hey, anything counts here. Anything counts. This is readjusting my mindset. It's been mushy. Okay, let's get back.
Let's go back to firm it up.
What's that?
I said, let's go back to firm up the mindset.
Yeah. So look, I want to go back to dedication and focus.
You were talking about 2020 too, right? Like,
well, yeah, just whatever you want to share related to this. I just remember you had like a real burn the ships kind of approach.
I did.
It always stood out to me because a lot of people don't, they're a victim of shiny object syndrome. They just, they do.
And I will say, I know some people have heard it, but I feel like if I don't share this piece of me, it's like you don't understand where my drive comes. So my daughter was born at 25 weeks, so she was a pound. She was tiny, and I was still trying to do e-commerce at this time, and I basically like got taken out for over like a half a year. She was in the NICU, and I had to go there. I worked an hour away or hour and a half away from the hospital. So I had to go to work and then go there. And it was just really hard. And, a couple times at least that she almost didn't make it. And so like having that moment, like I wasn't bankrupt, but I was in a lot of debt at that point. Like I can remember literally being outside the hospital with my daughter up there and talking to Amex, trying to be like, when can I make my payments? And then trying to like work out like this arrangement. I remember what it was like, man. It was horrible. But I knew that like after watching all the struggles that she went through to live, I was like, if she can go through that, the little like things I had to go through to get this business off the ground are nothing. And I'm doing it for her. I want to spend more time with her. I want to be there while she grows up. And that was like my why. And so that's like coming out of like, she was born in like 18. So coming out of that was where I like either could go bankrupt, shrivel up and die, or go all in. And that's kind of like where those seeds started to be planted in terms of my whole mindset shift in terms of, I'm not quitting. I'm not going to let the pain of failure, ruin me when I've seen some of the things that she's gone through. She had heart surgery like right away and all that kind of stuff, and it was just crazy. So it's like, that was like where everything came from, I think, in terms of what drives me ultimately.
That's awesome. So how old's your daughter now? Like 5?
No, she's 7.
She's 7. Yeah,
she's
that's
7,
awesome, man.
And all the stubbornness that kept her alive is on full display.
Still though, that's incredible, dude.
Yeah. So I wanted to share that just because, like, a lot of times, if you like really want to do something, like kids can be the reason not to do it, but they can also be like your why for everything. They can be the reason why you stay up late, the reason why you get up early, the reason why you keep trying. You want to like be a good example for them, but you're not going to just let one failure, take you off your dream. And so like, that's where it was like pretty easy after that point, after I got to that point.
That's awesome, dude. That's a great kind of, a lot of times people have these kinds of stories, where they go through, they don't, hitting rock bottom is probably the wrong way to put it, but it's like they experience a level of hard that makes other stuff easy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what it was like. It was like when that happened, the whole world contracted. Like anything could have happened. Like if they fired me, I wouldn't care. Like all I cared about was this little person, and it was like, it just like my whole world contracted at that point. And then, basically coming out of that, by the time she got home and everything was fine, you were talking about working late. I was literally like, my wife would like take care of her, go to bed, and then I'd have to wake her up at 10 to like feed. And so I'd be like in the next room doing my e-com stuff. And then I could hear her. She was on like oxygen, so it would like go doo, 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 click, and then I could be like, "Oh, she's up." So then I'd have to go over there and like take care of her. And I remember those days like so vividly. And yeah, I mean, then kind of going from that, what really helped me double down was like 2020. I mean, everybody experienced that in terms of like we had these like systems, like your job or whatever, kind of in place, feeling like they were like the responsible thing to do. They were like the thing that was stable. And then when that happened, you realized how little control you have. At least I did. And I was like, man, I got to find a different way, because I don't want to have to be, at these people's beck and call. And just, they really tried to like hammer down, like, I actually really started to like appreciate how short life is and it's not guaranteed, and really wanted to like do something more like meaningful. And so I was just kind of, those two things together are what really like propelled me, I think, to what happened the next 3 years afterwards.
That's awesome. How old are you?
I'm 44.
So I'm going through this like this whole like revelation on how short life is. I'm kind of going through that right now. I just turned 40.
Yeah.
And so coincidentally, like just as I turned 40, I saw something in YouTube, like the algorithm served it up. It was like a video on Carl Jung, and he says life begins at 40. And I'm like, that's a good word. I'm holding on to that. And I remember it was like last week, I was about to take my dog out. My son was going to go with me. And my son looks up to me. He's like, Dad, you're about to turn 40. And I was like, yeah. And I was about to share with him this Carl Jung thing. Cause like, I want him to have a proper perspective of age, and I don't want him to dread it, you know? And so I'm about to tell him this. And my son goes, you're so old. He's like, it's like your life is over already. It's like you may as well already die. And I was like, dude, it's like, I'm your dad. Don't talk to me that way.
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
well, now the whole thing is, they say that if we live long enough now, we could potentially like live forever.
Yeah, you don't want to be the last guy that croaks before the live forever pill comes out, huh? So okay, let's go back to this. So you have this experience. It introduces a new level of hard for you. It definitely gives you a clear why, right?
Yep.
I want to let's move from that and make it practical. Like, what were things that you did that like in what ways did that manifest in like your daily habits, in the schedule you were keeping, in the content you consumed, all of that stuff?
Yeah, I would say like the big thing you mentioned about like shutting out everything was my response to recognizing the shiny object syndrome that most of us suffer from, and I suffered from it huge. I spent so much money on courses. Not that that's bad, but if you're taking like a dozen courses and a dozen different things at the same time, you're not really taking a dozen courses at all. You're just buying it, and then it sits there in your file or folder or whatever. And so it was like, I did a lot of that, and I was just realizing that I wasn't giving myself a fair shake. I was always kind of looking for like that magic bullet where like things just came easy, and really not focused on one thing. And so that's kind of where I recognized when my success happened before, was when I was totally like in on one like brand or one kind of like business model. And so that's kind of where I like found the one that worked for me. I like the paid side of things. I liked it because you basically like control the traffic. It probably comes from my SEO days, where like platforms are fine, like Etsy or Amazon, but like it's their world. They can kick you out whenever they want. Whereas if I control the traffic and own the sales platform, well, then I can just take a different traffic channel if that one goes away. But I ultimately own all that stuff. And so that's kind of where, and plus there's no other business model to go from $0 to $100,000 a day overnight. If you're paying for ads.
Sorry, I want to frame that up for people, because some people may not understand what you're saying here. So back in the day, Matt used to build websites, and the way you made money from websites back in the day was you had to build the website and you had to do a bunch of what they call search engine optimization on it, where you wrote content for the search engine basically. And then you had to wait for people to go to Google, type in a term, your website would have to land in the rankings somewhere, and that's what you're optimizing for. They have to click on your site, browse your site, see an ad, or buy something from you before you make money. And so what Matt's saying is like, he'd spend all this time kind of building something, and then it was just a wait and see kind of scenario, where like you just kind of had to wait to see if you ranked, and then whether or not you got the traffic and whether or not you could make money. And back then, the big challenge he had was Google would make an update, once a month or whatever, to how their algorithm worked. And sometimes it would just nuke your site and you'd have to start all the way over. So he's saying that when he like kind of had this revelation, he was going through this period and he's like, what do I really want to do? He liked this idea of owning the traffic. And by that, what he means is with Facebook or TikTok, whatever, you basically create ads and you spend money running the ad. And if it's a good ad, you basically control the valve. You control the flow of traffic into your site, right? And he wanted more control over that. And he didn't want to be a victim of algorithms and search engine results and things like that. So that's what he's talking about here. Is he made a deliberate decision to use these kinds of traffic channels to grow his business. And then I cut you off, but right there at the end, you said there's not a lot of other businesses where you can go from 0 to like big revenue numbers overnight. So
Mhm.
do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like the real appeal to it, was just having that control. And I mean, I was also like, kind of like relying on what I had success in before, like with the shirts and with the mugs and tumblers and stuff like that. So I kind of got it like conceptually. I just didn't really understand it from like the design perspective. And that's kind of where a lot of my like difficulties, kind of happened that first year, was all that past experience working against me. I will say that Valentine's Day, I made over 10,000 profit in the month. It was like the first time I ever did that. So like that was like another layer of like certainty, where I was like, holy crap, if I can do this at this level, how far can I take it? Knowing that I can just crank it up, or if I would have gotten on that trend a bit earlier, what would have happened? And so that's kind of where I had like another eye-opening moment, another like belief, kind of like another like a little like swell of that belief. But then I still kind of was like very much a t-shirt mug person trying to sell jewelry, which like doesn't translate well. Like I did not want to obey we didn't have the if they cry they'll buy kind of thing yet. So I was trying to do everything else but trying to like basically do my own, like, I don't know, my own like individual creations and stuff like that. And it just didn't work. And I had a lot of time where I was struggling with that. And that's kind of like where I ended up finally admitting that I needed coaching. And so I got involved with coaching, and I gave myself a pass on it because it was in line with exactly what I was trying to do within that year. I started to realize, okay, if I'm going to use this year the best, I need to find someone that's done what I want to do.
So
And
I want to highlight that lesson though, real quick, because I think a lot of new people struggle with this too. A lot of people, they hear about print on demand, usually on YouTube from somebody selling on Etsy or whatever. And especially the creatives, they get all these ideas about like, oh, I'm interested in this hobby, or this would be a cute design or whatever. And they get all these kind of like preconceived ideas about the type of designs they want to make. And then they want to force those into a market and get sales. Right. And in a way, you were kind of doing that because you had kind of a niche that you liked, and you had been doing t-shirts and mugs, and you kind of knew what sold on those. And you were basically trying to fit jewelry into that. But you kind of had to eat a big old slice of humble pie and realize, well, wait a minute, what kind of works on jewelry and what the market actually wants is maybe different than what I want to create. Yes. Right. And so, and by the way, for those of you that haven't caught on yet, the market is your boss here. Right? It is your boss. And like, if you're not listening to your boss, the market will fire you. it will not work. So what Matt's talking about here is he had to make a pivot. He realized that. He realized the shortcomings or the gap in his knowledge, and then he gave himself permission to go get coaching to kind of shore up the gap. Is that roughly correct?
100%. Yep. And I think like one of the most important things to like kind of highlight here, like I get a lot of questions from people, and like, very often it's like, is this model good or is that model good? There's tons of models even within ShineOn, right? Like some people only sell Etsy, some folks sell Amazon, some do this or that. There's different models that all work. So like for me, it was about finding out, kind of like investigating, doing some research, finding out the positives and negatives of each of those models, and then basically finding the person that was doing the exact model that I wanted to do. And so that's kind of like, I think if people started with that, they'd buy less, but they'd buy what they actually need in terms of like, where that will get them to where they want to go based on the person that's actually teaching it. It's easy to like buy something and be like, oh, I don't want to do this, or it's a lot more harder, a lot more difficult than I thought, those kinds of things. So yeah, that's kind of where I got clear. The model.
I hesitate to say this out loud because I think it can be a little bit confusing for some people, but I've kind of come to the real, after talking to you guys, I know all the top merchants. I know everybody that's like had some success in this space. I've kind of come to this place where I kind of think the business model you believe in works. And also I'll extend that to the ad method you believe in will work.
Right.
It's really whatever you can get behind in terms of like your belief and your commitment to figuring it out and solving the next problem. Whatever you can really get behind will end up working. It's no guarantee, but like if I had to kind of piece together the lesson I've learned from all the different tactics and traffic sources and ad methods that I've seen, that's kind of the one common theme among all of it. But anyway.
That's kind of where I got, I don't know if you'd call it like humble pie, but I've been in it long enough, like a dinosaur, to see like if I tried a tactic and it didn't work, I can't say that that doesn't work, because invariably there's always someone doing it and doing it really well. It's like, you can't make money, and then there's somebody doing exactly what you said
Yeah,
couldn't
I
be done. And
know.
it happens over and over again.
It's annoying
So
too.
yeah, and so it's like I can totally see that, there's different models for it. But if you look at the industry as a whole, it's based on, principles that don't change no matter what the methods are. The principles are always like what we stand on and what we build everything on. And so I think if you can kind of like focus on those, then you start to realize that, like, so much of the skills that we're building here, I mean, no like discredit to ShineOn, but they apply to like almost every other aspect of business, even businesses that aren't print on demand. A lot
I
of the
totally
skills that
agree
you're going
with
to
that.
develop in this journey can be used in those other business types as well.
This is why, if you come into this, with the sole objective of just making money, like, this isn't going to work. But if you reframe it and you come into this with the objective of skill acquisition,
Yeah.
right? And you're trying to learn all the skills that make this work. And there are a bunch of them. You don't think about it, but like, there are branding skills and web design skills and copywriting skills and your basic like marketing and media buying skills and customer service. Like, there are so many of them kind of across the board that you pick up here. You'll become like an amazing, just kind of generalist in business anyway, by going down this path. And I can't tell you how many people have come in, they've dabbled in print on demand for a little bit, and then I'll hear from them 6 months later going, hey, I just want you to know, I couldn't get that to work, but I took what I learned there and I went on and I got this job at this ad agency, or I went on and I got this job over here. I started this other business and applied the lessons I learned. I've been able to turn this into something. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. I think that's kind of important to like take away from it. And that's kind of what I've learned too, is like, there's like even things like, when I was doing like my website stuff, I like made my own logos. Right. And I'm like, I don't want to be like a logo maker. But then that experience with Photoshop and other platforms totally informs the way that I create my own designs. Like when I was first starting out, nobody was creating my designs. I was. So all of a sudden this like, kind of like this experience that I thought didn't have any kind of meaning comes back and is valuable again, because now it's, basically helping me to be more like productive when it comes to making these designs. And there's so many different examples of things like that, or like my accounting background, right? Why are we going to use accounting if you're going to sell jewelry? Well, ads, cash management, being able to look at your analytics, all those things are like kind of like a superpower if you plug it into that market, right? It's just a different use for the same set of skills that I've developed over a decade as an accountant. And so it's kind of like the combination of those things that like really started to make me see like, your learning skills, just like what you said, it's not just like in a vacuum. These skills can be used valuably in the entire market.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Especially for new people, like when they're getting into this, I typically find that like if they start experiencing frustration with some part of the process, that's usually the universe kind of highlighting a skill deficit. Like that, like frustration is actually your next opportunity from a skill acquisition point of view. Like you got to reframe it like that, right? Because frustration will beat you down. But if you go, oh, I'm getting frustrated here, badass, I got something new I can learn and master and make this easier and take like, another step forward. If you can reframe it like that, it becomes really powerful.
Yeah, it's the obstacle is the way, with Ryan Holiday's books.
Dude,
it's kind of,
exactly.
It's
I
all
forgot
about that. I
So,
can't. So many times when I've had difficulties, this is like totally like makes me old and like nerdy. I think about the scene in Indiana Jones when he's going into that temple, and he like gets to the point where he's trying to like, go and like meet the knight or whatever. And he gets to the point where like he looks down, there's all these like headless bodies of people that have come before him. And it's almost like this is where everybody else like gave up, or like where they're like, they couldn't get like beyond here. I think about that a lot. Like visualization is like, okay, this like difficult point right here is like where everybody else stopped, where they quit, where they were like slayed basically. And not like physically slayed, but like their like commitment was slayed, right? They gave up. And I'm just like, I'm going through.
So dude, when I was 8, my stepdad's favorite movie was Cool Hand Luke. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's this scene where Paul Newman, he's in prison, and I can't remember why, but he ends up in this place where he's going to fight the biggest guy in prison. And so they all go out to the prison yard, and all the prisoners kind of stand in a circle, and it's normal guy Paul Newman against this guy. It's a freaking giant, right? And you're watching, like, I'm 8, and I'm like, man, he's gonna get stomped. And the fight kicks off, and Paul Newman gets stomped. He does get stomped, And this guy is just like, he's freaking hammering Paul Newman, and Paul Newman's getting knocked down, and he gets back up and his face is starting to get mangled and bleeding. And the guy knocks him down again. This happens over and over again. He just keeps getting knocked down. And everybody like watching the fight, they're starting to go, dude, stay down. Like, this is sick.
Yeah.
Like your face is turning into ground meat. You know, it's like, this is getting disgusting. And people in the crowd start walking away. They're like, I can't watch this anymore. I start walking away, and Paul just keeps getting back up. And eventually the other guy just puts his arms down. He's just like, I'm not doing this anymore. He's like, this is gross. And the other guy walks away, and it's just Paul standing there. And don't ask me why, but in my 8-year-old brain, I was like, that's it. That's how you win life.
Yeah, right.
Like, you just don't give up.
Yeah.
Like if you can just keep getting back up, you are good. Like, eventually you will win. And that's now become
like Rocky.
one of my favorite
Rocky, that was the whole thing with Rocky too, right?
Yes, this is every story.
Yeah.
This is the meta story of every story that you like and love. It's just all a story of not giving up. But like, that's become that quote now: if you don't give up for long enough, you win.
Yeah.
That I say all the time, because like in my bones, I really believe that. Okay, hey, we've got a few different people here that have asked some questions in the chat. I feel like we've done a decent job kind of with your origin story here a little bit. So let's answer a few of these questions, and then I want to talk about Valentine's Day, if that works. So, okay, a few questions. Kim asks, Kim's got a few of them. What business model do you use, and what ad method do you use? Now, I know this is a big question, so take it away.
What's that? Oh, deep question. Yeah.
No, I know it's a difficult one to answer, because it's there's a lot of different ways you can answer this, but go ahead.
Yeah. So generally speaking, I run a store on Shopify, right? So I have the website. I own my platform, if you will. But the problem with owning your platform is that there's no traffic coming to it. So I use interruption marketing via Facebook, TikTok. You can use like some search marketing or advertising with Google, but primarily it's interruption marketing. So, showing something to people that they don't know they want. They're not looking for it, but holy crap, they like resonate with it once they see it. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. And I'm funneling traffic from a platform, from like a social platform, to my website. And that's how I make sales, paying for that traffic, paying my product cost. And then I keep the difference in terms of the profit. And the thing about that is, like, if you go to like, even going back to SEO, if you're only going to run a business on Etsy, they can decide whenever they want that they can just kick your business off or not allow the products that you sell, or there's a lot of competition for those for those top spots, for those big, large audience items. And so somebody else might just take over your spot, and all of a sudden you're like second or third, and so you don't really own it. And so that's kind of where I always wanted to do, like, the traffic that I owned. And then if you want to add like Etsy or Amazon as like a channel, as like a spoke in your wheel, that's fine. You probably should, because you're creating this market for this product or products. And those are like places people go, but usually Etsy buyers buy on Etsy, Amazon buyers buy on Amazon. So some people that see your ads and go to your website will naturally go to Etsy to see if you're there, go to Amazon to see if you're there. So that's kind of where I see it fit in the puzzle, in terms of adding those additional spokes to that wheel, but still the primary hub is that website and the traffic that you control. So yeah, that kind of covers both, really.
No, that's great. All right, let's do this one, and then we'll shift gears a little bit. So earlier you made this comment that, like, the principles that you use to run businesses, like they're kind of all the same, like,
right,
fundamentally, when you get down low enough. And Kim's asking, what are those principles? Now, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here a little bit.
No, that's fine. We kind of talked about a few of them, but basically it's like, I want to sell a product to a target market for more than it costs me to obtain that product. And so you can either basically, have a point of sale, have a place where you sell it, either on your website or on a platform. And then you have to either get traffic to it, either just organically from the platform by ranking in it, or you have to pay for traffic. And so that's kind of like the principle is like the traffic, the offer, you make the sales, and then everything else is like additional to that. And so one of the big things is always like making a profit, right? I get some people that have been students of ours that are like, I'm making sales, I know it's good, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, at the end of the day, it may be a product that sells really well on a platform where you don't have to pay for acquisition for, for that traffic, but we're looking for products that are so solid that we can actually scale them profitably with paid traffic. So while they might be a good product for a platform, they're probably not going to be a good product for paid traffic. And there's like a difference between that, right? There's a little bit more qualitative like nature with the one that's actually scalable with paid traffic.
There's like there are two things that I think you need to understand as you parse through kind of what you were saying. One is like there's a difference between needs and wants.
Yeah.
Right. And you think about this from a business perspective for everybody listening, right? So a need is like, if you're tooth chips and you need to go see a dentist, or you have a leak in your house and you need a plumber. Like these are one kind of problem to solve in business.
Or it's 2020 and there's no toilet paper anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Or beef, which was my problem. Then you have wants, right? And so wants they're not needs, and people buy wants for different reasons, right? But our product definitely fits in this want category more than likely, right? I would say it can there's a little bit of overlap with the need category in that, like, if you're 5 days before Christmas and you forgot to go Christmas shopping,
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, here comes this ad. It's like suddenly you're kind of solving a problem for somebody and it's a need, but most of the time it's kind of a want. Right? If I'm just being real honest with the product here. So you have needs and then wants. And the reason people buy are different. And what Matt's kind of highlighting is he's trying to make a product that's solid enough that when people are on Facebook scrolling and they see the ad, they can make an impulse purchase on it. Like you are able to construct an ad and a product in such a way that it basically channels desire and makes people want it, and like they're willing to make an impulse purchase on it. That's kind of what Matt's talking about. So you have needs, wants, and then the other thing I think you should probably know is there are at least two different, like broadly speaking, traffic channels. You have intent-based traffic channels, and then you have more like these
interruption,
direct response or interruption type traffic channels. Where like intent-based is Etsy or Amazon, basically anything with a search engine where somebody goes, they type in something they're looking for, and then your stuff might show up. That's what Matt was referring to when he said a platform, right? Like you can make a product that perhaps sells well on a platform, but it may not be good enough to work in the direct response or interruption marketing platforms because they're totally different. So direct response and interruption marketing, again, your product's got to be so good that you're basically like you have people that are not shopping. They're not in the like a buying frame of mind. You're putting your product in front of them and it's got to be so good you can arrest their attention and get them to like stop this other thing that they were doing and take a walk with you for a couple minutes and then buy the product. So it's two different skill sets and approaches to this business. Anyway, I feel like that kind of fit into the principal discussion, so I wanted to highlight it real quick.
Yep,
okay, let's shift gears and let's start talking about Valentine's Day a little bit. So, again, we have a lot of either people that are brand new or people that are still kind of, they haven't found their first winner, right? They're still kind of mastering the fundamentals. What advice? What advice would you give these people as we move into Valentine's Day? Like top 2-3 points of advice that they need to keep in mind as they move towards Valentine's Day to increase their chances of success.
Yeah, I would say like number one, just based on what I've heard from like students and stuff is don't let, if you didn't have success in Q4 or the success level that you wanted to, like don't let that deter you from number one, because this year, this last Q4 was a little bit weird. We know there was like $10 billion spent on political ads, and that's over $1 billion from the 2020 election. So huge amounts of advertising dollars were spent. It was a tough year. Just to, going to be honest, it was tougher than most because of that. It was like a big contributing factor. When it comes to Valentine's Day is our first kind of situation, like Michael was saying, where like a like kind of becomes a need. because now you have to buy a gift for somebody. I mean, unless you just like break up with them and then get back together with them after. I mean, most people who are married aren't going to do that, but you might if it's your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. And so like you start to see this audience that's buzzing more. There's more buyer intent there because they do have to buy something for someone. So everything kind of starts to get to this red hot pitch in terms of like the market itself. And the other thing I would say about Valentine's Day is it tends to be a really rapid increase. And that's kind of what we're in right now. We're in that like first part of like if you look at like trends, Valentine's Day is going like straight up here because this is like the hot of the market. And so there's a lot of opportunity. What's that?
I said on February 1, it just goes nuts. I think a lot of people aren't even because you just had Christmas. A lot of people aren't shifting gears and thinking about Valentine's Day, but I got to tell you, every man anyway in Western culture, where they celebrate Valentine's Day, February 1 hits and it's like,
they're like, yeah, that's kind of like the trigger, like February, Valentine's Day. Oh crap. Yeah, exactly. And so it's, even though it happens so quick because of that, if you look at like how long we have to sell, people would say, well, I'm not gonna be able to scale very much, but it's a great like start. It's a great first kind of like dip your toe in it, get some success, get some sales. It's a great moment to have that. And then so much of what happens in Valentine's Day can be relied upon to carry you into Mother's Day. There's so much congruency there. And whereas Valentine's Day is a very abrupt, straight up holiday, Mother's Day tends to have a longer selling cycle. It kind of more looks like Q4. Maybe not quite as long, but much longer than Valentine's Day. So if you lay the foundation with your products or with your testing in Valentine's Day, don't think that, okay, I didn't get to scale it, it's over. Continue iterating, looking at Mother's Day as like this next opportunity to build upon what you've already done. And, basically, I always say that Mother's Day and Father's Day is like a double dip, because there's been many products I've sold where it's like, especially like on new stores, right? I maybe found a little bit of like a winner that was getting sales, but I didn't have a chance to scale it for Valentine's Day. Mother's Day came around. I started scaling it. I was doing better, right? And then it was like, all the different things that happen with scaling. I didn't know how to scale. I don't have a ton of budget. Cash flow situation comes up. You kind of like run into those, but then you'll find that a lot of those like concepts and designs can be flipped for Father's Day directly. And now you've already had this like break-in period. You know what it's like to operate on this higher level. And a lot of times the double dip from Father's Day that started in Mother's Day can actually be bigger than Mother's Day. So like there's like basically like a boom, 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 right? There's like Valentine's Day that goes into Mother's Day that goes into, Father's Day. And then you have like graduation, all the other things that happened after that. This 6-month stretch here is just full of opportunities to kind of tap into that more need-based buzz than just want buzz.
Yes, I agree with you on this. I will, I do just want to, so we have a merchant that every year, definitely in our top 3 merchants every single year, and their sales start to pick up in July, and it just increases all the way to Q4. And they're the only merchant I've seen that can start hitting like a modest level of scale that early. Everybody else, I think, sleeps on Q3 because there are no holidays or anything like that. But this one merchant, I see him come in every single year, and it is always surprising to me that they're able to do this. Anyway, so I just want to say, that was not a counter argument. I totally agree with what you're saying. These next 6 months are a great time to be in print on demand, because there's so many like what I call compulsory gift giving holidays, the type of holidays where they're like a social obligation to give a gift, right? So I totally agree with that. So let's go back to the top 2-3 tips for like newbies, right? So like, what can newbies do right now to take advantage of Valentine's Day?
I'd say like number one, get really structured in your testing. I like to use spreadsheets. That could be like a symptom of being an accountant in a previous life. But I found myself like testing either the same like quotes or the same designs over and over again and wasting money on that. Not, and like maybe I like wouldn't do it like right away, but I'd test like 4 and then suddenly I'm testing number 5, and without even realizing it, I'm testing a very similar quote to what I just tested, maybe too similar, right? And so having that track record is really valuable. That's why I first started doing it. It's back when you guys did your 100-day challenge, right? You got to do like 100 designs over 100 designs over 100 days. That's like why I started doing it, to make sure that I checked the box. And that's like a habit that I basically I've always done since, as having that like log in terms of what I've tested. Did it make sales? How many? Was it profitable? Those types of like KPIs. I've always had that. And so I think if you can start to get organized on that, it'll, number one, prevent you from testing things that are like too similar. Number two, it gives you a way to look back at, maybe you can see that either you have a knack for writing in a certain niche, or your account is just responding favorably in a certain niche. You've had more success, say, doing granddaughter than you have soulmate, for example. You might want to start doing more of those.
Give us an example of like the types of things that you track in your spreadsheet.
Yeah. So I assign all my designs a number. And I do this because one of our processes is that if something like is at break even, but we can't get it to break out and be profitable, we'll take it into what we call a phase 2 development, where we're doing a lot of variations, phrase variations of this, of this particular like product. And if you don't give it a unique number, it can become very confusing as to which design I'm looking at, what am I testing? What's the winner? I have no idea. I've got like 16 variations of it. So giving it a unique number is key for tracking. Then I have a little bit about like the title, like what the title of like the design is, like basically like to, from, and then like a little bit of the quote, snippet. And then I do sales. I do cost of goods, and then that calculates to gross profit. And then I have a column that shows my ads, less ad spend.
So when you say sales, it's like your
revenue from Shopify. Yep.
How often are you updating this?
Daily, pretty much.
So every single day.
When I first started doing it, I was doing it daily, but now I have someone that does it for me. But just at night. So it was like, how did yesterday's tests go? Basically in our testing method, we spend for 2 days now. So every night, after my child went to bed, I'd sit there and be like, okay, this one got 2 sales, it stays on. This one spent $50, got no sales, it's off. And that would kind of like allow me to
Are you doing this right in Shopify?
I do it in like a Google Doc or Excel spreadsheet.
No, I know. I'm sorry. The revenue numbers, you're just pulling them. You're not looking at like Ads Manager. You're going.
Don't rely on Ads Manager for the revenue stuff. Look at Shopify, because that's like written in stone. They, in the reporting suite, they have the ability to see that.
So so everything gets a number. Then you have kind of your title or the name of the product, whatever that is. Yep. And then you have the revenue or the sales. It
would be sales and numbers, so like units, and then sales in terms of revenue.
Right. Okay. Yep. And then you have COGS.
Yep. That comes from
what's next?
ShineOn. That's also available in Shopify, because ShineOn, injects those COGS to our products.
What else you got?
And then your ad spend.
Oh, that's it. That's all you track.
Well, it would be like basically the typical accounting equation would be sales less your cost of goods gives you your gross profit. Gross profit less your ad cost gives you your net income. Now, granted, if you want to get real granular about it, like you have to consider transaction fees that you pay for and things like that. But that's not really like for this purpose of just trying to figure out if this design has legs. It's not really required. I try to keep it.
Do you have a spreadsheet template we could give away to people?
Yeah, I'd have to probably ask if I can do that.
Oh, is it not yours?
Well, it is, but it's kind of become like company property. So.
Oh, I got it. All right, we'll just rebuild it. Basically, what you shared with people.
I can give you like I'm sure it's not like anything major. I can. The thing
is it's really not. I mean, it's like 4 or 5 things.
I can do
whatever.
it.
I get it.
I'll give you the basics.
Okay, so you're tracking.
Okay, Mario says it's okay.
you're tracking everything. Okay, so you're tracking everything in the spreadsheet. That's how you keep track of like which ones have potential and don't, so that you can basically fork those and go do additional development on anything that has potential. So what else? What else?
But
can
here's the
people
other
do?
thing about this. This is the other key that I didn't know. And this is from you guys, right? You guys said to track it to make sure that you are diligent and you don't not do a design every day.
I totally remember that. I totally remember teaching that.
You don't remember this?
Dude, I've been around for a while. Okay,
It might have been before Michael BM. So when you were talking about the slower months, right? There's a lot of times when I would test, I don't rest, right? I have like this weird thing that I have to move all the time. So I'd be testing and there'd be products that would get sales in the off season, slower seasons, not profitable. Well, I would highlight them yellow. Hey, they get sales, they're not profitable. Now, because as marketers, we're always thinking like the next holiday, like I'm already thinking Mother's Day while everybody else is thinking, Valentine's Day. Comes like September or like maybe like August, I'm already thinking Q4. I'm going to go back at that log of all the things I've tested in the slow time that didn't quite pass the mustard. Well, when the margin or when the market starts to vibrate at the high level, some of these that weren't able to be sold profitably now can be. So rather than starting from zero, I'm going in back and I'm going to revisit all these yellow products that were like marginally, break even, maybe slight loss, slight profit. And those are the first ones I'm going to test in any kind of like event, whether that be Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas.
Yeah, see, I don't recall. I think I tried tracking in a spreadsheet for a while, but it just like wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But back then I did have a way of tracking everything in Shopify and then the app itself. And I did the same thing where I think I mentally I don't know if I wrote this on my to-do list or put a reminder on a calendar or what, but I also did that as well, where as soon as I saw buyer activity start to pick up near a holiday, I'd immediately go back and look for anything that was break even or showed even a modicum of potential. And I'd try to bring it back and see if we could do something with it.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, that's the same thing that happens when like a new product comes out. Go back to the ones that were like your solid, like going back to like your whole fishing analogy. Maybe you had a marlin back there that could be a whale if you just put it on a different product,
I'm glad you still use that.
I love that, man.
Okay. So, got it. So like tip number 1, right?
Yeah. Organized.
Track things.
Yep. Track
so
things.
what give us another one. Tip number 2. What's something else?
Some of the stuff is like elementary, I think, but it's so important is consistency. Like you have to, it doesn't matter what you do. Like everybody always asks me, how many should I test a day? I mean, that's kind of a loaded question because I don't know your budget. Like, I don't know how much you can like commit, but I always say, especially going into like events, you should be testing at least once a day. Like that was my goal. Cause that's kind of what was laid out in that 100. I was always trying to do one new test every day. And like, that was kind of like my bare minimum. And then as we got towards like events, that one test became 4 or 8 because I knew, the time's running out and I got to crack that winner now. But I was consistent.
By the way, when that happens, people, it's not work either. When you start getting close to a holiday and you can see everybody else posting their screenshots and sales are happening and like you're not really where you want to be yet, it puts a fire in your pants.
And that's what happened to me. I was doing one a day. I had one that was like kind of like an outlier. Mario said to go do like, I think I did 8 different variations and I'll be damned. But the one that I liked the least was the winner that I ended up doing several $1 million with.
Yeah.
And it was the one I didn't even want to even launch. I didn't even like it really. So, I mean, that's like another lesson. Like it doesn't matter if you like it or not. It matters if the market likes it. And when it starts to make, $10,000, $20,000 a day, it's going to start looking pretty cute really quick.
You'll find a way to like it, huh?
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. So 1 is track everything. 2 is like maintain consistency.
Give yourself a schedule, a plan, and just work the plan.
And by the way, just so everybody knows, the 100, it was called the 100, 100, 100 challenge.
Yep.
And we did it a bunch of years ago. And the idea was that in the 100 days preceding Christmas, you were going to launch 100 products with the hope or the goal or the aspiration of trying to generate $100,000 in revenue, right? That was like the whole challenge. And back then, I remember we tracked it. We had all the participants like in a list, and we were tracking the number of products published, whatever. We'll try to do that again this year. We need to. It was a lot of fun. And I've heard a bunch of people talk
do it again.
Huh?
I said, Allison said that we should do it again. But I was like, yeah, we should definitely do that again.
Yeah, we'll do that this year in the run up to Christmas. But anyway, that's what he's referring to. So this consistency thing, he's just saying like, get a reasonable schedule you can live with, and then just adhere to the schedule. One a day is really not that bad. It does kind of depend on your budget a little bit. But like if you're on Etsy or something, you should be able to do one a day. I remember one time Anna Beck had this goal of doing like 13,000 in a year or something like that. And I was like, wow, hats off to this person.
I know.
But anyway, find a schedule that works for you and then just commit to it. And by the way, I wholeheartedly agree with this. Even if it's one a week, right? 52 a year is better than 5 and quitting. You know, like figure out what you can handle now, set the schedule, really commit to it for like a year, and then just do not give up. One of the things I always tell people, I'm like, the time's going to pass anyway. I mean, we are going to blink and it is going to be January 24th in 2026. And you're going to be looking backwards. And you're going to go, what the hell did I do last year? Right? Because all that time, everybody has the same amount of time, right? The question is, what are you going to do with it? And you are going to wake up in a year. It's going to happen faster than you know. You're going to blink, and you have all this time right now in front of you to make your future self proud of what you've accomplished, right? Like you have all this time right now to actually do the hard work of reaching for your goals, right? Yeah. And it's really just up to you to make the choice, figure out what you need to do, and then commit to it. So this consistency thing, this coming up with a schedule, even if it's one a week, freaking do it so you can make your future self proud, right? Don't be the person that comes into this with false expectations, gets disappointed as soon as it's hard, and then freaking flakes, right? Don't do that.
It's also like a recipe to avoid that, to avoid burning yourself out trying to do 20 or like never feeling like you did enough. You know, you basically put it on the board. When you cross that off for the day, go do something else, you know, go step away.
Just like you wake up every day and you brush your teeth. It's the same damn thing. It's like, just wake up every day and make a design. You have to look at it that way. Right. You have to look at it that way.
Right.
If you don't, the universe will crush you on this. Yeah. By the way, I'm going to say one more thing. I want to get to your third tip. I don't know if you've read the War of Art before.
Yes.
Not the Art of War, but the War of Art.
I have. I've read both actually.
Yeah. So the War of Art is it's fantastic. I can't remember who's the author. I can't remember. It's
he got a series. He's got like a trilogy, right?
I don't know. Maybe the War of Art's the only one I've read. Anyway, he's an author, and basically this entire book is just about any creative endeavor or goal that you have. He says basically as soon as you start a goal, you will feel a resistance towards accomplishing it, right? And this resistance will show up every single day, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to eat breakfast with you. It's going to be whispering in your ear while you're getting ready for whatever it is you do in the morning. And when you sit down at your computer to actually do the work, it's going to be Facebook and TikTok and phone notifications. And it's constantly going to be there to take you down, right? Mm-hmm. Like that is the resistance. And your entire goal is a productive, creative human being or artist is to overcome the resistance on a daily basis. That's your entire goal. And my favorite thing about the book is the way he puts character to what this thing is, because all of us have felt it. All of us know it intimately. All of us have let it sabotage our dreams and the things that we want and desire. Right. And this setting a schedule and then committing to it, it's just a hack to defeat the resistance on a regular basis and to make it easy. Right. So if you can get to this place where you go, hey, one a week or one every 3 days or one a day is reasonable to me. And then you can treat it like, hey, just like I brush my teeth and I eat lunch, I also make a new design test every single day. If you can treat it like that, you can win this year. You can win this year. And it can be the best year you've had in a long time. Wi-Fi Payday says it's Stephen Pressfield. Yes. Yep. That's it. All right. So 2 tips down. Give us a third one.
Number 3. And this was like the
one.
Number 3 is the one that I learned last probably. And then it was ultimately what unlocked my, my success, really, my first. So that in 2021, I did the coaching that I started like in June, right? Late. And then I went all the way in my first Q4. I did $500,000 in sales, my first time ever. And it was a pivotal point in November that this happened. And the recommendation is let the data decide if your design is good, not how you feel about it, not because you think it has to sell, just because the data tells you it's good. Just because the market doesn't want it doesn't mean it's ugly. It doesn't mean that your quote isn't like beautiful or whatever. It just means you can't sell it at scale. It's not personal. And I've fallen in love with designs. Like I fell in love with a design in October. It was number 39. I love that design and it was making sales. But at the end of the day, I was like $3,000 in the hole on it. So as soon as I had a good coach tell me that and look at it, I realized that there was another design that I wasn't really looking at because I was so sure that this other one was the one that I ended up like falling out of love with it. He convinced me of that without even looking at the design, look at the numbers and said, nope, go on to something else. And that having that pivot to looking at something else opened up the opportunity to the one that ultimately became the winner, my first winner that did $500,000 the first Q4. Data, not how you feel about it.
Thankfully, I don't think I struggle with that quite as much as I've heard some other people. I played a lot of Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
In my early 20s, I went to a lot of tournaments, and like you really have to learn to control your emotions, and you have to learn how to make like data-driven decisions, even though it's a card game, right? Like you're looking at pot odds and all kinds of stuff. And anyway, so like I was able to bring some of that into this, which by the way, I see is quite commonly like people that tend to do well with the media buying stuff are the people that have a knack for it at the beginning anyway. They come from day trading. They come from, I've seen a number of people come from poker. It's really weird.
I've actually gone to day trading.
There you go. I've also seen video gamers, like strategy type people. Kirsta was like the number 2 StarCraft player 1 year.
I don't totally believe that.
But yeah, like there's a lot of that.
But I would say like I do understand it. Because the problem is people try so many tests. Like even me, I had 36 tests, right? I felt like I should be getting something. So when I actually got a design that was getting sales, even if it wasn't profitable, I fell in love with it. I'm finally getting sales, and then I just didn't look at the data. I didn't want to do the math to see if I was actually making money because I was getting sales.
So look, I said that I usually didn't struggle with it. I didn't say I never struggled with it. And after I joined ShineOn and I was doing like media buying, I wasn't doing what I'm doing now. I remember I made this design that I thought was freaking amazing. It had a black background and it had like this really cool image of like a pretty girl that had like a crown on her head, and it kind of like there was a gradient applied to it, so it kind of faded into the back. It was just really dramatic. And then when I put the text on it, I did like a silver like leaf over the text, so the text like felt ornate. And I can't remember.
See this now in like your feed, I guarantee it.
Huh?
You're gonna see this now like in your feed, I guarantee.
I might. It said Forever Love. It was the Forever Love necklace, and I just remember I looked at this and it was so awesome. Like I just felt so proud of how it came together. I remember I was so proud of this thing. I shared it with Eric. The owner of ShineOn. I shared it with Eric and I was like, dude, this is going to slam. I'm like, look how beautiful this is. I was like, I can't believe I made this, and then I launched it and it freaking ate shit. I was kind of embarrassed by it. I'm like, I can't believe I did that. I got attached to a design. I'm like, I can't be doing that.
That's kind of why I cringe when I meet someone that wants to get into it and they tell me that they're a designer. I'm like, oh,
I know
it's gonna be hard. like you said, I'd rather have you come from the math side than that. Not that it's not workable. It's just going to require that you, adjust.
They're going to fall in love. They're going to spend 3 hours, on design elements and stuff when it just doesn't even matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So look, so let's recap the 3 tips real quick. So tip 1, track stuff. Tip 2 is consistency. Tip 3 is let the data be your boss, right? Basically like listen to the data. Those were good. I'm going to throw out a couple here real quick. If you haven't heard it yet, it's the phrase that pays for all you new people out there. Don't get freaking lost on this design stuff we're talking about. Like focus on testing phrases. Phrases are what moves people emotionally and will make them get out their wallet and buy a product. So I'd focus relentlessly on testing new phrases. Go ahead.
And it's even more true in interruption marketing, because I would say that Etsy, you can get a little bit more ornate, a little bit more poetic because that market wants it. But if you're looking at a mass appeal, broad audience, like look at Hallmark, their stuff is pretty generic. Like it's written at like a 5th grade reading level. And so like that's kind of what you have to go into it. Every little like embellishment that you put on there could be something that turns people off versus make them want to buy. So simple, simple, simple.
I'm actually surprised Hallmark hadn't discovered this yet, because their phrases suck.
I mean,
huh?
They might want to buy you guys someday.
I take back what I just said.
I was going to say, don't kill them.
Anyway, that would be like my number one piece of advice for a new person is like, you have to understand that the phrase is 90% of the reason people are going to buy one of these products. Yep. And if you have a product, you put it out there and it starts selling, don't fool yourself into thinking that it was some fancy thing you brought to the design. I guarantee it was probably that phrase. And if you take that phrase and then you start testing different iterations of the phrase, or the phrase with slightly different design elements, I think this is what you called phase 2 earlier. Like that's how you break into it. Another piece of advice I'd give people real quick is like, you know, Matt has done, if you go searching through the Facebook group now on Matt's name, you're going to see all these crazy days and months that he's had in terms of like revenue generation.
You'll also see my first $10,000 like month ever, I think, way back when.
Yeah, it's in there. But something to know is that like, and I tell new people this, successful campaigns are not launched. They are built, right? Like you have to take a different mentality to it. It's not like Matt showed up and just, you know, first design he put out there, it just crushed it for him. That's not how it works. It's just not how it works. Like what was your test? Like it was the 147th one or something like that.
137. Yeah. I mean, so like when my first 7-figure like mug tumbler I ever did, it took me 3 designs. Third design, I did 7 figures on it, which you think is a good thing. But every time I've seen that happen, people are usually off doing something else 6 months later because they're like, oh, you know, that was it. They don't know what it's like to have to grind it out, like you said. Whereas like if someone's forced to kind of like grind it out, I feel like then the success of winners happen more often because they know
which one was it for ShineOn? Wasn't it like your 146th or something?
No, it was 137.
Okay, I talked over you. I didn't hear you. 100. So it's the 137th design before it really took off. And I really want.
I had others that got sales and some of them that were profitable. I just couldn't scale them. Yeah.
So it took 137 before you had one you could scale. I want to make sure people hear that. Like success is built. It's not launched, right? Like it's not going to come out. It's not going to just fall out of the sky and land in your lap like the freaking internet gurus are going to tell you as they stand in front of their rented cars, you know, and all that stuff. So anyway, I just want everybody to really understand that. So
but on the flip side of that, there's so much money out there, right? Like, I mean, like, what would you do if you like knew that you couldn't fail? Is kind of like the question I always ask myself. And like we were talking about on like a previous call, that like law of like truncated returns, you know, whereas like if you're at bat, you might strike out. The most runs you can ever get is like, you know, 4 or whatever. Whereas like if you get a home run in business, you know, you may strike out 136 times, and I may be like in debt a little bit. My credit card's making me sweat or whatever. But then on that 137 one, there's no limit because we're selling products. It's just like it prints every single day. It pays for so many strikeouts just by getting that first one.
That's probably a good place to end. I'm going to read the quote and then we'll wrap this up.
I love that quote. It's actually on my wall over here.
Before I read the quote here, can you tell people like, you know, where can they find you? I know you're doing Ecom Performance Mastermind stuff now. You know, if you want to plug that or anything.
Yeah, I'm a coach with Mario's group. That's the only coaching I do. I don't do any on my own just because of time constraints. He's going to post a link for a free group. If you want to go there and check it out, there's a post there. I'm sure he'll post it in the chat. We have 10 hours of training. It's free. You don't have to do anything. We'll also put the spreadsheet that we talked about there for free. Just go check it out. And if anybody wants to learn more about coaching, you can through us, but it's not required. We want to kind of help people start get those first sales, and then we can build everything from there.
Yeah. Hook me up with the the spreadsheet link or whatever. I want to post it in the Facebook group, and we can do a thing where we share the leads or whatever. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to read this quote and we're going to wrap this up. So this, just a heads up for everybody, is a little bit of a lengthy quote, but it's powerful. It's powerful. Matt said he had it on his wall for a while.
It's from Bezos too.
Yeah, it's from
Right?
Jeff Bezos. So here we go. It says, outsized returns often come from betting against conventional wisdom. And conventional wisdom is usually right. Given a 10% chance of 100 times payoff, you should take that bet every time. But you're still going to be wrong 9 times out of 10. So he says if 1 time out of 10, you can get a 100-time return, you should take that bet every time, right? But you're still going to be wrong 9 times out of 10. Yeah. We all know that if you swing for the fences, you're going to strike out a lot, but you're also going to hit some home runs. The difference between baseball and business, however, is that baseball has a truncated outcome distribution, meaning limited returns.
Mm-hmm.
When you swing, no matter how well you connect with the ball, the most runs you can get is 4, right? So in baseball, you have truncated returns. It's limited what your return on investment can be. In business, every once in a while, when you step up to the plate, you can score 1,000 runs. This long-tailed distribution of returns is why it's important to be bold. Big winners pay for many, many experiments, right? And so, like, he's just saying this idea is Matt tested 137 products before he found the one that scaled. And not only did the one that scaled paid for all the 137 tests, but it did a hell of a lot more than that. It's that kind of return you're looking for. It's this outsized, trying to find an elegant way to say it that's going to impress everybody, but it's really this like outsized,
life-changing potential,
upside.
really.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this incredible. If you can manage your downside, you give yourself the ability to experience this almost unlimited upside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all Bezos is talking about in business. You take a bunch, if you experiment a lot, you're going to eventually hit the one experiment that works, and then the returns on it are going to be insane, right? That's kind of what Bezos is saying here. And Matt is kind of tapped into this reality in print on demand, right? Because it kind of exists there too. Now, again, approach it like a skill. It takes time, it takes effort. Success isn't guaranteed to anybody. Matt's basically an expert, an e-com expert at this point in time. Everybody needs to kind of understand what it's actually going to take, but it's there, and it's pretty incredible. So, okay,
and I had that and quit my job 6 months later. So there you go.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, okay, I think we wrap this up though. All right. So where did they go for the EPM stuff? You shared all that?
Mario posted a link in there to the group, and there's a post
so there's a
there.
Facebook group, POD with Mario Manduni.
Yep.
That you can join for some of that. We'll also try to share some stuff in the ShineOn group.
Yep.
And
you accounting folks might not like it. The whole purpose of it is to keep it simple so everybody can use it. It's Matt's Keep It Super Simple sheet.
Keep it super simple sheet. I like it.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed today's Coffee with ShineOn. Got a lot of value out of it. I want to see some of your names on the leaderboard here as we move into Valentine's Day. All right. Have a great Friday, everybody. Happy selling. Catch you on the next one. Bye.